In this video, I'm going to be explaining to you some of the common reasons for why you don't feel like you're truly loved. For this video, I'm going to be basing it off of my experience working with my patients as a psychologist. So the information provided here won't be the kinds of information that you could find off of the internet or on ChatGPT. So I'm just going to run through some of the common reasons why patients have described that they don't feel truly loved. Now, there's a lot of different reasons, and everyone's story is different, and that's really important. But here are some of the very common threads that I've observed in my time. Interestingly, people sleeping in separate beds or in separate bedrooms or in separate rooms seems to be a very common element present in a lot of the reasons why a person doesn't feel like they're really loved. So what this has led into in my investigations is to conclude that basically one of the strong reasons why people don't feel truly loved is because they don't have physical intimacy, like bedroom, bedroom action. I don't want to say the word just in case YouTube blacklists this video for saying certain words, but like when two people do the thing in the bed, you know what I'm talking about. Lack of that seems to be quite a common thread for why a person doesn't really feel like they're loved, like someone's there for them, which actually makes sense, psychologically and according to the research and what we sort of know about people is connection. As a part of that, whether you agree with it or not, connection is physical. Simply put, you connect with a person on different levels, emotionally, intellectually, but you have to connect with them physically. So lack of that can lead a person to feeling like they're not truly loved. This is also one of the reasons why I think long distance relationships don't really ever work, because you might be able to connect with them emotionally, maybe, intellectually, maybe, but physically you can't. And we need, human beings, we need touch, we need to feel things, literally feel it physically, right? So lack of intimacy seems to be a very strong factor that is associated with a person not really feeling love. And the reasons why people might sleep in separate bedrooms is individualistic, and usually there's a development of events that would lead someone to doing that behavior, but the basic premise is separation at a physical level. Another common reason that I've found why a person would describe that they don't feel like they're truly loved is because they've given up on it. They've given up on this idea, this concept of love. Maybe it was there to begin with, but over time they've, for one reason or another, developed a degree of pessimism and have decided that love doesn't really exist and that everybody is out just for some sort of materialistic gain or some sort of trade. Nothing is ever purely and simply just for the love of it, just for that human connection, that sense of I am here just for you, the person, and not because you're rich or I find you're conventionally attractive by Hollywood standards. So the people's general tendency to give up on love naturally falls in line with them saying, well, I don't feel truly loved, so I'm not going to look for it, I'm going to give up on it, and maybe it was never there to begin with. Another reason that I've discovered over my time is a person, and it's very corny and very cliche, but it is true, and it is super important that you really do have to love yourself in order to love someone else. Now, it's important to differentiate here between things like loving yourself to the point of narcissism, for example, or an ego that's quite large and explosive to the point of alienating yourself from people. Like, we will need to pull away from that, obviously, but it's more so about being comfortable with the skin you're in, being okay with you, being happy with you. And if you feel like you're happy with you, then that literally can spread, and that can make it so that the people around you can feel happy. And if they're happy, they're going to want to be around you more. And then that can lead to development of a relationship. You see, birds of a feather fly together. So a sad person might connect more with a sad person, but that ultimately doesn't facilitate the emotions of like joy and happiness, and eventually it would probably fizzle out, right? Where if two happy people connect, they're going to potentially build a relationship over time, and that's going to sort of enhance the existing feelings, because humans are literally group animals and we're a group species, so we kind of like need to be together. And that feeling of disconnectedness, which kind of relates back to the first point, but that sense of like disconnectedness is kind of a big element to why a person might feel unloved, or they're disconnecting from others or from themselves, or both. The last reason that I'll cover that comes to mind, that seems to be a big one that I've observed in my patients, but just in society in general, is looking for love in the wrong places. So, for example, a person might develop a relationship with someone that has issues because they might also themselves have issues. So they're sort of founding their relationship on rocky foundations to begin with, or they might fall in love with, well, quote unquote, fall in love with someone that is like a criminal, like someone that leads a very dangerous criminal lifestyle, and they might enjoy that initially for like the thrill, but it ultimately will probably fizzle out and it'll just be like generally quite unsafe for them. Or you might be looking for love in like a club or a bar or in the city, and that can work, but it's just like a person might set themselves up for searching for love in a location that might be more conducive to casual relationships. So they sort of hype themselves up, like, yeah, I'm gonna find someone in the club, maybe. Or not that people have described a clubbing situation to me, but it's the kind of that's the higher level idea, the higher level concept here, which is that people are searching for it in the wrong location. Like, yeah, I'm gonna find a love in the club, and then you get with someone, I guess, and then they end up getting with other people, and then it just kind of fizzles out, and they feel very rejected, even though they were looking for a long-term relationship, and they put themselves in a context where they're actually going to find people that were going to do a short-term relationship or a casual relationship or some other variation, like the non-monogamy type stuff. Anyway, so that's the end of this video. Most of my videos I usually have a little bit of a script or a bit of a research backing, but this one I figured, you know what, I'm gonna make a video about things that I've observed based on my personal experience only in the context of clinical psychology. So hopefully people enjoyed this and found it not really enjoyable. Maybe what I'm trying to describe here is they find it validating in a way to get a feeling that you're not alone in this. Like, if you resonate with any of the things I've described, basically your experience, you're not alone, and what you're going through is like okay and normal. It sucks, but it's normal, and to conclude, it's normal and it can be fixed.